Good evening, I'm Hannah T. Today on Newsfeed Weekend, the Foreign Affairs Department says Alert Level 3 has been raised in both Iran and Israel, activating contingency plans for Filipinos on the ground. The DFA clarifies this is a precautionary move, not a response to any direct threat or crisis involving Filipino communities in the region. Ivy Reyes reports.
Alert Level 3 has just been raised in both Iran and Israel on Friday, the Foreign Affairs Department said. DFA clarified, however, that this is only standard protocol to activate the government's contingency plans and not due to any alarming impact on the Filipino communities in the Middle East.
In Tel Aviv, they are calm, they don't want to go home, they believe in the Israeli system to protect them, to take care of them.
The same situation goes in Iran. Of the 1,180 Filipinos in the country, only a small number has registered for repatriation. This morning, 21 government officials trapped in the Middle East returned home. The delegation included 9 mayors, 4 vice mayors, 2 regional directors, 4 officials from the DA, and 2 party list makers. Meanwhile, on the possibilities of Iran and Israel coming to a truce, geopolitical analyst Don Hill said he doesn't see this happening anytime soon. With world powers US and China stepping in, Hill said the geopolitical dynamics of Middle East is at a strategic deadlock. On the one hand, Iran is expecting support from its ally Russia and is staying afloat through China's defense. On the other, Hill warned that US President Donald Trump's 2-week ultimatum may be what's holding other Arab countries and Russia from openly supporting Iran.
Why is Russia not helping? Well, the thing is, of course, we are speculating. Nagsispekulate lang po tayo, is that there could be, thank you, sir, that there could be, of course, behind the channel talks between Trump and Putin.
The DFA reiterated that there are no reported casualties from the Philippine embassy in both countries. Amid the growing number of applicants for repatriation, about 20 Filipinos are set to return next week. Ivy Reyes, Billionaire News Channel.
No to World War III. That's the urgent warning of Senator Robin Padilla amid escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. Padilla, who chairs the Senate Committee on Public Information and Mass Media, urges the government to launch a nationwide information drive on the country's position, clarifying that the Mutual Defense Treaty with the U.S. covers only the Pacific, not the Middle East. He warns that should the war expand, the country must be ready for mass disruptions to basic needs and services. Senator Rafi Tulfo, meanwhile, called on Filipinos in Iran and Israel to evacuate immediately as the DFA raised Alert Level 3. He assures that the Philippine government is ready to assist in bringing Filipinos to safety through coordinated evacuation efforts. Senate President pro tempore Jinggoy Estrada earlier said returning OFWs must be given livelihood support and expedited assistance. Senator Risa Ontiveros supported calls for mandatory repatriation in danger zones and stressed the need for psychosocial aid and reintegration plans. The Department of Education is set to begin implementing several key changes to the K-12 program nationwide. DepEd Undersecretary for Operations Malcolm Garma told Abante Radyo's Parekoy that these changes resulted from a review of education experts on the current curriculum in grades 11 and 12. Among the expected adjustments are a reduction in required subjects and an expansion of available elective courses. Garma adds the department already has a list of public and private schools that will undergo pilot testing for these programs. President Bongbong Marcos earlier called the country's K-12 program a failure. Despite his frustrations, PBBM said his administration is focused on strengthening the current curriculum. China's bullying in the West Philippine Sea continue with another water cannon incident and Chinese maritime militia vessels swarming at Rozul Reef. Ivy Reyes tells us Philippine government's reaction in this report.
The Philippines won't stoop down to China's level, said Philippine Coast Guard Commodore J. Tariela on whether the PCG would eventually be taunted to respond with water cannons.
If Philippine Coast Guard vessels will respond to water cannon, what is the strategic objective of such response? It will eventually just, escalate the tension. Third, obviously, these are unlawful behavior. These are bullying tactics. And we don't want to go to that level. We, ayaw na nating makipag-agawan pa sa China Coast Guard. But on our part, we have to deal with them professionally in accordance with the guidance of the President.
On June 20, over 50 Chinese maritime militia vessels at Rozul Reef were spotted swarming within the country's exclusive economic zone. Despite an attempt for a dialogue with the CCG, Tarah said there was never any response from China. Tarah added that since the day China has claimed the West Philippine Sea, he still cannot comprehend which law they are referring to, as the 2016 Hague ruling clearly sides with the Philippines. Meanwhile, the president, in his latest podcast, expressed a strong position on Philippine territorial waters.
Paglalaban talaga namin yan. Because kung ibigay mo yan, bibigay mo ng, like they say, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So you cannot allow it even the 1 inch.
The government is playing fair in China's expansionist game. They stressed, let China be known for the bully that they are. Ivy Reyes, Billionaire News Channel.
Victims of abusive online lending operators sought help from the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission early Saturday. The PAOCC opened its doors as early as 6 in the morning today to accommodate victims determined to file sworn affidavits detailing the harassment and threats they received from online lending apps or OLAs. The agency emphasized that the illegal tactics used by these operators, including public shaming, doxing, and coercive messaging, are clear violations of data privacy laws, lending regulations, and human dignity. PAOCC Executive Director Gilbert Cruz says they're currently handling 150 formal complaints, a number expected to grow as more victims continue to come forward. Earlier this week, the PAOCC, together with other government agencies such as the Philippine National Police, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the National Privacy Commission, launched a nationwide effort against abusive online lending operators. All eyes were on Tarah Valencia as she slayed a Miss Supranational 2025 interview in a dress inspired by the iconic Banaue-inspired terraces. Designed by Non Laranang and featuring artwork by Daniela Lazaro, her look was a head-turning tribute to Filipino culture. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more Pinoy, she carried a bag shaped like a stack of books by Zara Juan. On Instagram, the Miss Philippines called Tarah a symbol of Filipino strength, heritage, and heart. Now in Poland, Tarah's out to bring home the country's second Miss Supranational crown. Netizens took to social media the rare occurrence of moths all over the metro and neighboring provinces. But to some experts, this is alarming. Ivy Reyes tells us why in this report.
The internet was in frenzy with photos of moths appearing all over Manila and neighboring provinces this weekend. While Filipinos poked fun at bringing tradition to the story, an entomologist warned the mass migration of moths in urban areas is alarming.
This is probably attributed to the lack of host plants in their residing areas. So kumbaga po ang nangyari, possible po na dun po sa mga areas po that they usually reside in, nauubusan po sila ng host plants dun. So in search of new plants that they can lay eggs on for their generations to persist, nagmamigrate po sila or lumilipat po sila sa ibang lugar to seek other plants that their caterpillars can feed on.
The swallowtail moth, or Lisa sampa, is usually found in forests. Because of their attraction to light and the lack of food in their habitat, Lisa said the insects who have flown to the city over the weekend are risking not only their survival, but of the rest of their species who didn't follow into the city. This is because
Kasi naman po, yung mga nagre-remain po sa forests, no, of course, they have this certain characteristic that makes them unable to migrate. So, anong nangyari po, nawawala po dun sa possible repertoire or like possible traits sana na within their pool na pwede sana ma-inherit ng mga future generations, kumbaga po, para mas maging resilient po sila sa mga environmental pressure.
Lee also debunked the myth pointing the mass sighting of the moth as a bad omen. While he respects tradition, he underscored that the phenomenon is entirely scientific in nature. He said, "May this be a reminder for the Philippine academe to dig deeper into entomology because insects play a vital role in our ecosystems." Ivy Reyes, Billionaire News Channel.
K-pop group BTS lead rapper Min Young-gi, popularly known as Suga, has completed his military tenure, Big Hit Music announced Saturday. The 32-year-old artist is the seventh and final member to complete South Korea's mandatory military service. Big Hit Music says his service ended on June 18 with his official discharge date set for June 21. Due to overcrowding concerns, no fan event was planned to mark his release from the military. In 2022, the K-pop sensation announced a group hiatus to begin their mandatory national service. Earlier this month, Suga's four other bandmates, RM, V, Jimin, and Jungkook, were also discharged from the military. The sun shined a little longer today. This is the longest day of the year with over an hour and 40 minutes more daylight compared to December solstice. The June solstice happened at exactly 10:42 a.m. today, Manila time, marking the official start of a tropical summer high in the northern hemisphere, according to PAOCC. Around the world, people are celebrating. Thousands gathered at Stonehenge and Glastonbury Tor to greet the sunrise. And with a heat wave sweeping across the UK, temperatures are expected to hit 34 degrees with a yellow warning for thunderstorms. And those are the news this hour. I'm Hannah T. Stay tuned with the Billionario News Channel. Good evening.